And here we go. All right. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to tonight's show of Random Tan Experience. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Liz.
And this is the Random Tan Experience. And we are, if this is the first time that you're joining us, we are full-time work from home parents of 9 kids who are not quite in bed yet. And they should be in bed, but you're going to probably hear them.
You're going to hear some background noise up there.
So if one of us has to go up and do some parenting, just so you know. Right. In fact, I think one of us is probably All right. So we got a fun show planned for you guys tonight. Like I said, everything is live here, so you get the Tan fan. We're going to be talking about the size of our cookware. We're going to relationships and some of our reflections on on the things that we've done over the years to really make it work. And also we're going to share a little bit about our adventure this week at a cool place called Rounds Ranch up in Elmvale. And so we'll be sharing a little bit of, we're going to be sharing a little bit of our experience there. Right. So that's what's going on in the show. So you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, and there wasn't a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth.
No, there was no gnashing.
No gnashing. Okay, good. All right. So I just told everybody we're going to be talking about the size of our cookware, building strong relationships. But first, we're going to start off with our review of Rounds Ranch. Okay.
So Rounds Ranch is a little fun park in Elmvale, Ontario. And we were the very grateful recipients of a free family pass for the summer. So we went there for the first time this week and had a great time. The kids had a lot of fun. I think the favorite part was the pedal carts.
Yes, I think so too. So it's so it's a little bit of a fun park just right off the highway. We're actually going to post a link to it in the description of these in the description of the video a little bit later on. But it's right off the highway, and
the petting zoo was
The petting zoo was really good. So there's a petting zoo. There's pedal carts. They
have a world record holding duck.
Yeah.
She's the duck that has laid the world record for number of eggs laid and hatched in one setting.
Yeah.
And that record is 23. So she was in her little part of the barnyard.
Yep. And you can actually go into these little pens and petting it's a petting zoo.
Yeah.
So you can go in and pet some of the animals, and you can buy feed for them as well. I really liked one of the mazes. So they've got a bunch of mazes that they have. One, the one that we were in was all set up with hay bales, and kind of wander through and kind of get lost in the hay bales. A little bit later on in the season, they're going to open up their corn maze, which actually I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So you can go through the corn. Mm-hmm. Also with the pedal carts, they had these big, huge jumping balloons.
It's kind of like a bouncy castle idea, but without walls. It's just like a big air bladder on the ground.
But it's huge. It's massive. It's maybe about the size of a tennis court. Like a full tennis court.
Maybe the two of them combined.
Yeah, two tennis courts combined, right? And the kids can just climb up there and bounce on them and have a lot of fun. But definitely the pedal carts were the big hit of the day. So
zip lines were good too.
Yeah, the zip lines were good too.
For the little ones.
Yeah, for the little ones. So I would say that this place is really good for. So Gavin was not there. Actually, we should talk about why Gavin wasn't.
Yep. Gavin wasn't there with us this week because he was.
Was it this week that we went, or?
Yeah, it was just this week.
No, he was he was doing some volunteer work, but I'm thinking
he was doing volunteer.
Yeah, he was doing volunteer.
Away yet.
Yeah, he wasn't away yet, but we'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah.
But Aileen was there, so she's the 15-year-old. She had a lot of fun on the pedal carts. Really lots of fun for the little kids, for the young the young kids for sure, but the maize was definitely a hit for the older ones. I think the corn maze, once we go, is going to be a big hit for
I think that'll be a big hit.
And unfortunately, we didn't go on a warm day, but they have this one maze. It's a dark maze, and
it's got mist.
So on a warm day, on a hot day, you can actually go in and get misted with water. So that's that sounds actually really refreshing. So Rounds Ranch is really cool. I think they do have, I saw signs they also have
pony rides.
Yeah. They do corporate events, they do birthdays, they do private events as well. So yeah, check it out. Yeah, check it out. It's definitely a lot of fun, pretty rustic and a neat experience. And we're looking forward to going back. Yeah, we're gonna go back. All right, good. So after Rounds Ranch, so earlier on this week, I'm gonna have to cough off here in a second, but earlier on this week, we were asked a question: how do you guys feed your kids? And usually my stock answer to that is by the grace of God. But what they were actually asking was, how do you actually physically cook for your kids?
The logistics.
The logistics of
cooking for 11 people or 12 people, depending on who's home, at every meal.
Yeah. So we figured we'd show all you guys, some of the tools that we use to cook with, specifically our pots. Okay. So just to give you an idea of scale. So, just to give you an idea of scale, this is a 11-inch saute pan. Okay. So it's the Gordon Ramsay Royal Dalton saute pan. We really enjoy it. We really like the Gordon Ramsay.
Like it a lot.
Yeah.
The sad thing is that we're actually starting to outgrow it.
But this is
so if I'm cooking chicken or pork chops or
we can't actually this fit enough for everybody in this. But we definitely recommend this line of cookware, the Gordon Ramsay Royal Dalton cookware. It's heavy, but really solid, well made, and it will last you
Cooks
a lifetime.
Really well.
But that 11-inch saute pan, and this is a 10-inch stock pot. I mean, these would be considered big for most people.
Families.
But
getting on the small side.
Well, this will probably hold us about a meal's worth of soup, I think now, right? So if we make, or stew,
See, this is what I used to cook pasta in, and now I'm having to use this one to cook to cook the chicken or whatever
the sauce,
the entree is.
And then we would use our Legostina pasta pot. And we're trying to we're gonna get not quite yet. Okay, so why don't you just come in, photobomb the whole thing and say hi to everybody?
So this is our 15-year-old
who just came in. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. So those would be considered big. Okay, and so here's also our wok. So this is a 14-inch wok, which again is considered regular size.
And which we now have outgrown.
That's right. So
it now usually lives in the basement on the shelf, and we pull it out for when we have parties and we have additional side dishes that we're cooking. But when we're cooking a meal for the family in a wok, we use this thing. This one.
Okay, so this is an 18-inch wok. If you want to hold that up, and I'm going to hold up.
I'm holding it in front of me so you can see the comparison.
And so the difference between our old wok and
our new wok.
Right? So that's that's one.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's really nice now to not be spilling out the side as we are cooking in our wok.
And in terms of a stock pot, this here is the size of the stock pot.
If we're making turkey soup, we tend to buy bigger turkeys now when we have turkey dinners.
Okay, so you want to hold that up.
Yeah, this is our new stock pot.
That's okay.
On the side without the ripped up label.
Right. So that's
the stock pot we use to make soup now.
Okay, so that's the difference between that. And when we're really hungry, oops, sorry about that. That probably really loud. This is our other stock pot. Okay, so this big, you can almost take a bath in it. It's so huge. So
this is actually
our chili pot. This is what we use to make chili, and and yeah, it's probably lasts maybe about 2 days worth of.
No.
That's actually this is our tomato pot. Actually,
that's actually our tomato pot for when we can tomatoes, bushels at a time.
Yeah.
So,
but
we only actually use that pot about once or twice a year.
But it's but it's big.
But it's really fun to show people.
Yeah.
And actually, when we moved into our last house, we almost couldn't fit it through the back door.
Mm-hmm.
See, doing the tomatoes is an outside activity. You can't control the volume and the mess of bushels and bushels of tomatoes inside a kitchen. You've got to do it outside so you can hose everything down. There's just so much stuff that comes
we
with
weren't actually sure when we brought that home if it would fit through the door, through the back door.
See, so what we would do is we would do the tomatoes in the backyard because you can't do them in the kitchen. So we would have the burner set up outside, and the first time we did it, we brought the pot in from the garage, and we were walking up to the back door, and we're like, oh, it's not gonna fit, and it just squeaked through.
It really did. It's big. Like that's a big pot.
It's a big pot.
So
I think we had to turn it so that the handles weren't sticking out sideways.
That's right. Yeah. So we and kind of do one of those like maneuver it through. So yeah, so that's how we cook. That's how you cook on a daily basis for
a family of our size.
For a family of our size, for 11, 12 people.
Yeah.
So at a time. Yeah. Slow cookers are great. So we do a lot of cooking in a slow cooker, especially when we're out homeschooling. At a homeschooling event, we do a lot of swimming and stuff.
Yeah.
So very often we'll throw a whole chicken or two in a slow cooker, and then we'll cook rice in the rice cooker. Maybe I should go get the rice cooker just to.
Yeah, because a lot of people can do one pot meals in a slow cooker where you've got your potatoes in it or your pasta in it and it all cooks together, or your rice in it. That used to work for us. Again, it doesn't anymore because the size of our slow cooker. I'm not sure if I've seen bigger slow cookers. I think I've seen one bigger. I'm not sure where to get it.
So
but then this would be our rice cooker.
This is our rice cooker. Okay, so
we would have the slow cooker with our meat and veg.
It's a staple in every Asian household.
Yes.
To have a slow cooker, and so
a rice cooker.
A rice cooker. Sorry, and to just compare it with our big stock pot. It's not our big stock pot, but with our small stock pot now, big for everybody else. It's about the same size. And we do about 10 cups of rice cooked in this, right? Mm-hmm. So, on a regular basis, it's about, 8 cups, and it goes up to 10 cups of rice. And that's pretty much our daily consumption of rice when we're doing rice.
Yeah. There's usually leftovers.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. But, usually it's gone once somebody has a midnight snack. So.
Yes, which we try and discourage.
And actually, there hasn't been a lot of midnight snacking this week because Gavin has been away this week at Lead Week.
Yeah, Franciscan Lead.
So we're actually really proud of him, and
we're praying. And actually, all you guys, if you could say a prayer for the deepening of their relationship with God as they're experiencing this Franciscan Lead Week.
Yeah,
and developing
so not just for Gavin, but for every all of the people there, all of the teams that are there, in this special component, and also say a prayer for the kids who are going to Steubenville, Toronto. So Steubenville, Toronto is happening this weekend, and so that's really exciting. At the
end of Lead Week, all those kids who've been on the leadership portion, they join, and all the other kids who come for the conference will come for the weekend, and they have a bigger gathering there once all the other. I think there'll be a couple hundred,
something like that. Yeah, and while we're at it, we should also invite people to pray for the pilgrims going to World Youth day.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
so that's happening
right now. We have friends who just flew to Poland on Monday, and we're avidly watching their photos and seeing all their adventures in Poland and all their fun posts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's so prayers to them as well. So good.
And actually, we won't be on next week because following Lead Week in Steubenville, we're actually going away for our family retreat next week.
That's right. So we're going to be going to Cumbermere, Ontario, where we're going on our family retreat called Cana Colony. And I know some of the people watching tonight know all about Cana Colony, but we definitely recommend it for families. It is a week long, so you get there on Sunday and you
stay till Saturday.
But it is one of the most amazing experiences. We went there when we only had 3 kids.
Yeah.
And, it was life-changing. It really was life-changing. So, we've gone back every year that we can and, have had just as impactful as an experience every time. And Liz and I have been involved with all sorts of different retreat ministries in the past, and they're all good. They're all good. But one of the things when you become part of the organizing body of these retreats, they take on a different flavor, and they're still good, but there's a little different, right? Your experience is a little bit different. However, with Cana Colony, I have to say that even after, even being as part of,
as a host family,
our experience is still profound and impactful,
refreshing,
and every time, so every year. So I really recommend it for for families out there who are looking for something to deepen their faith as a family, to experience as a family. I really recommend going to Cana Colony. So
and I think it's done a lot to deepen our relationship.
That's right.
As well.
Yeah, that's right. Which is the next thing that
brings us to our next topic.
So just the inspiration for this topic this week, I just found out that we're watched also all the way over in Ireland. So that was and so that was really cool. And had a great visit with a dear old friend of ours
who lives there now,
but
who grew up here.
So and when we were catching up, we were just talking about some of the things it really takes to build strong and nurturing relationships, and we just mentioned that Cana Colony was really big for us in helping us develop and nurture our relationship, more than just communication. Okay, so everybody's going to say communication, and that's the first step, but there's more, because a relationship is constant work, right? It's always, I think, a relationship is I don't want to say a work in progress, but it's always something that you should strive to nurture, and
not to say that it's onerous.
No, right? No, but I mean, I know that it's, I know that what that sounds like, but you need to work on your relationship.
Yeah.
The thing is, the difference between work that's not fun and work that's fun, work that's fun, you don't even notice that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Work that's not fun, 5 minutes, feels like forever. Work that is fun, well, I mean, is 18 years married, and we can't even believe like it's been 18 years.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't feel like that long.
It doesn't feel like that long. So
except we have all this living proof.
That's right. So that's what I mean about building and nurturing relationships.
But there was a point from the conversation.
Yeah. So whereas a lot of times there are people who end up living individual lives and just happen to be married, and we hear about this kind of a lot, like, the husband, does his own thing and has his own life, and the the wife might have her own thing and have her own, activities, and that's okay. But it's just interesting to me when I hear some of these stories about people, they live almost completely separate lives. They just happen to be
to share a roof and to call themselves married.
So that's kind of puzzling sometimes, when I hear that, right? But
we're in the demographic now where we've been married 18 years, as we said, and people in our circle are some of them are in marriages that are having difficulty and sometimes they're splitting up, and it's troubling, but it's one of those things you just have to try and see it at the beginning so that you can help people before it gets to the split level. I guess.
So we've mentioned things before about, carving out time for yourself. We've mentioned things like, having a date night, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, I think, right? So, you don't want to surround yourself with people who are showing you what not to do. You want to surround yourself with people who are, living the life that you want to live, that you desire to live. So making sure that you seek that out.
Yeah.
So seek that out.
And people that you want to be, people who you would want to be an example for your kids as well. I remember having a conversation with someone once, and I didn't have any kids at the time, and this friend of mine had a daughter, and she was exposing her daughter to some really questionable behavior in her own friends. The company that she was keeping, they were doing a lot of questionable things. And I said to her, I said, "Aren't you worried about the effect this is going to have on your daughter?" And she said, "No." She said, "I want to show her an example of what not to do." And I think a lot of people think that might be a good approach. From what I know and from what I've read and from what I've seen, when you show people an example, people tend to do what they see, not what you tell them. So in what you're surrounding yourself with and in what you're surrounding your kids with, you want to make sure that you're nurturing and fostering positive, healthy role models in their life, and let them develop that healthy, secure persona, and get their conscience and their character formed before they're faced with the onslaught of all the crazy behaviors that the world is going to throw at them. So
and I think part of I think one of the things that was really a blessing in our relationship, right from the beginning, was we really encouraged each other to be and become the best people that we could be. We were both strong individuals on our own, and we're and individually, even now, we're very competent and skilled in our own individual skill sets. But when we're together, really, we're always encouraging each other, to becoming the best people that we can be. One of the things that we started out with right at the beginning of our relationship was we cut out sarcasm, towards each other. Right. So I have a very sarcastic sense of humor. I gave it up for Lent one year, and it was worse than the year I gave up fiber. So it was, the year I gave up fiber, everybody did penance around me. So that was not a good year. So, but the thing is, with us, we agreed that we would never be sarcastic with each other, because sarcasm, as its base has a cutting edge to it. And if we were going to be completely open and trusting to each other, we needed to know that, that we weren't going to get cut down, by the other, right? So that
even
was something
even
unintentionally, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that we established right on the onset, just that respect and that mutual respect and non-sarcasm. Some couples can survive it. Some couples are okay with it. But just in terms of our relationship, it's something that helped us become stronger, together. Right. So not being sarcastic.
Yeah. And we never swear.
We don't swear
at each other.
No.
Ever.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'll admit sometimes, when I slam my hand in the car door, that's,
the air might turn blue.
Maybe I might, have to go to confession after, right? But, but towards each other, that's a no.
Never.
No, we don't swear, towards each other. I don't know, it's disrespectful, I think, anyway. And, I would never, speak like that to the love of my life. So I don't understand why some other people, think that that's okay. But, again, just things that we don't do.
Things that work for us.
Yeah, things that work for us. Right. So good. All right. So we're coming up to
pretty much at the top of the hour.
That's right. So I guess anything else?
Nope, we won't see you next week because we'll be away.
So 2 weeks from now, we'll see you guys again, and we'll tell you guys all about our retreat and and some more reflections. And I guess that would be it. So
that would be it. Have a great 2 weeks, everybody.
Have a great 2 weeks and keep it awesome.